Hello, Scorpio. Let's do your reading for the week of October 17th. We're going to look at a strength, a challenge, and then the outcome, potential outcome, I should say. And if you stick around to the end of the reading, I'll be pulling some cards for you on the full moon that's happening in the sign of Aries this week. Now, this is not going to be every Scorpio's reading, so if it is not, go ahead and check out your other placements and see what messages might be there for you. And leave me a comment, a like if you would, and a subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to hear from you. Let's see what we have going on for the week of October 17th. Now, we are coming out of Mercury retrograde, and so I recommend revisiting that Mercury retrograde bonus that I made for each of the signs and having a look at that post-shadow period to see what might be coming up for you between October 18th through November 2nd, now that we're finally coming out of the retrograde itself. So I'll link that at the end of this video in case you want to have another look. What else? I'm about ready for October to be done. I don't know about you. I'm done with this retrograde nonsense. Let's get going here, Scorpio. Now, the Cancer reading I just did was super long, so hopefully we don't get too crazy here. We have the Two of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Hermit, the Sun, the King of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, the Seven of Wands, and the Knight of Cups. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Star. So you could certainly be dealing with an Aquarius. Some healing energy here, some sort of destined star. Perhaps something you've been wishing upon here and trying to bring into your life. Now, the star can also show up as something unexpected that you haven't even had your eyes on, right? Because it's related to something that is more destined, or rather fated, I should say. Let's see what's going on here. Got the King of Pentacles as your center card, so that feels really good and stable. Some Taurus energy, some Leo, Pisces, Cancer, some Virgo as well. I'm actually going to read to you this Y card. This is showing up as your strength. And so, actually, now that I say that, I know exactly what I want to say about this. It's showing up in the reverse in your strength row. And so it could very well be that you've been spending some time, or you're going to be spending some time, I should say, the week of the 17th, really looking deeply at why it is that you want something. And I think that that's a really good practice to put into place if that's not something you already do. And the reason I say that, and what this card talks about, is when we get to the real deep down reason for why we desire something, we can often sort of overcome or work around any potential self-sabotage that can tend to come up when we're chasing something as big as the sun here, right? like absolute happiness is, it looks to be what you're seeking. It could certainly be a Leo. But I think you've kind of almost been questioning, what is the real deep down reason for wanting this in particular, and trying to figure out why that is. Because oftentimes if we don't get to the real reason, then we end up confused when it doesn't come in quite as we thought it would, right? Now we have the Two of Wands, the Sun, and the Five of Cups. I do feel like there's this yearning feeling here. There's this like longing for something, and I do feel like there has been some kind of loss associated with perhaps this sun, this happiness, this warmth, life-giving energy. It kind of has this air of innocence and purity to it, right? And there's been some sort of loss that has taken place. And I do feel like there's been a lot of contemplation on that loss that has happened. But it could very well be that the strength for you this week are these two cups that are sitting right behind him, still in the upright. They're not spilled over. And if he were to turn around, he would find the Two of Cups. Now, I think that this pondering time spent looking at those Three of Cups has not been a waste of time or anything like that. I do feel like it has led you to some more realizations about why this sun in particular was so important to you. Now I do want to get a little bit more on this Two of Wands, but I do feel like there's been kind of this almost like a waiting period, like a longing, where you've been spending this time really looking at that deeper understanding of why it is that you want this the way that you do. So let's see if we can get some more here. See what's going on. We have the Two of Wands. We have the Wheel of Fortune. And the Two of Cups. With the Sun, we have the Five of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles. There's that questioning, that back and forth as to, okay, why do I want this? Right? That's what I really feel off of that card. Like kind of almost like a weighing of the pros and cons. With the Five of Cups, we have the Tower, so some sort of loss, some sort of breakdown took place here. And the Three of Wands. So again, with that waiting and that longing energy, that is definitely showing up quite a bit here in the clarifying cards. I do feel like the thing that you've been waiting for is some sort of like turnaround in this situation. We were talking about that Two of Cups that's standing up right behind the Five of Cups, the figure here that's kind of lamenting the loss of his Three Cups. And there's a Two of Cups that has shown up here. Now, we do have a lot of twos showing up here, so you could certainly be dealing with a decision. But that longing, that really looking into this loss that has happened, trying to figure out why it's so important to you, I think is serving as your strength for the week. Because because it has forced you to kind of look really deeply into, you know, why it is that you want perhaps this soulmate, whatever this happiness was for you, that ultimately you were ejected from, perhaps even violently. This could have ended very quickly, suddenly. I mean, we have the Tower. It's certainly a zap to the system, right? And I also feel like, though, that this time that you've spent in this questioning has led to some breakthrough epiphanies for you about yourself and that deeper why question, right? So let's look at the challenge for the week. And we have the Seer. It says, see beyond the current situation. And you can see that her eyes are covered. And you know, it's interesting because Cancer had a similar message here. They had the moon in this position, and it was all about, you know, kind of waiting for those intuitive messages. And being in the challenge position, it feels like they're not coming in, or we can't get to them. And so in this, the challenge here is turning around and seeing those Two of Cups. Because it says, see beyond the current situation. And so I still feel like there is something here that you're not seeing because you've been so absorbed in whatever this loss is. You can see this Queen of Cups here. She's like intently gazing at this cup. And the Queen of Cups has one huge cup here. It doesn't look like the other cups. I think this is actually is it a Russian teapot? I can't remember what they're called, but that's what it looks like to me. It's like this very fancy method of brewing tea. I'll have to Google it. But she's intently focused on this cup. And she's certainly very intuitive. This Queen of Cups is the intuitive queen in the deck. Very loving, a deep love going on here for sure. And I think that that's absolutely why it has been such a strong focus. Now, with the King of Pentacles showing up as your center card, so we have some Taurus energy here. I feel a couple of things. One, I feel like there's more stability here than you're recognizing. You're probably in a more stable place within yourself than you're probably giving yourself credit for. And certainly when we're wrapped up in our emotional world and kind of in this, you know, grief, lamenting something that we've lost, it can feel like our whole world has been blown apart. But this King of Pentacles, I mean, he's stable. What I'm also getting from this, though, is that, you know, the King of Pentacles, this is like old systems, old paradigms, kind of like old structures. So I do feel like potentially what might be going on here and why you may not be seeing beyond the current situation is there's still some kind of deeper, it could even be an old belief system within yourself that still needs to go in order for you to be able to turn around and see those two cups, right? So we'll see what else we get with that. And we do have the Seven of Wands here. I certainly could see how this would be coming into play with your emotions being in the state that they've been in. You could be definitely sitting in a more defensive, almost frustrated kind of energy here. You know, his face, he doesn't look super happy. He's in the warrior stance, the warrior pose here, kind of fighting off these other wands. And so it could be, it almost feels to me like you're kind of in this hermit-like state where you're trying to really deeply reflect and nurture yourself and work through these emotions that you're feeling. And any sort of outside stimulation, interruption is a super big annoyance, because this feels very important to you, and it feels like you don't have time for distraction as you're trying to work through what's going on here. I hope that makes sense. Let's see what else we can get here. We have the Queen of Cups. We have the Four of Wands. So it could certainly be a union here that you're focused on that did dissolve in the past. Some sort of soulmate energy. And the Seven of Wands. How interesting. Showing up again there. Okay. I'm feeling some hits here. Let's see. King of Pentacles. We have the Ten of Pentacles. So again, with that abundance, stability. And the Eight of Pentacles. Working on that for sure. With the Seven of Wands, we have the Ace of Swords. Oh my. And the Ace of Pentacles here. So, oh wow. So with that Queen of Cups, we have the Four of Wands and the Seven of Wands. And I feel like feels to me like there's something about this past dynamic, this past union, that you are, it's like you're, like a mother goose. And she's got this one egg, and she's protecting it big time. That's kind of what it feels like to me. And it may feel like that you have this external stimulation, like I was talking about, of people coming at you about this. Now, it does feel like you are fending that off. And kind of, really trying to stand up for the thing that you're attempting to manifest here, which could very well be a reunion with this person, right? Because we have the Seven of Wands here, and we have the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. You're definitely wanting a new beginning, perhaps with this person of the past. Now, it's interesting because unless you are dealing with a Leo or a Taurus, like an earth sign, we have lots of pentacles going on here. I do feel like this person could easily be very stable and abundant on their own. And perhaps part of why this Tower moment took place and this ended was because this person is so focused on their career. I do feel like that's at least part of it. This person also feels like they are spending a lot of time working on themselves. We do have the number 8 for those pentacles showing up, and that is self-work, right? And I feel like on some intuitive level, you feel very strongly about this union with this person. But again, I feel like with that King of Pentacles being there and it being kind of like this old paradigm, old thought process, I still feel like that applies as well. Like, we have this Two of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Two of Wands. It's like, do I want... I mean, clearly there's like, why do I want this change of events to happen that brings back a more positive Two of Cups type scenario here. And then in the challenge row, we have this. And so it's like, I feel like there's still something, and at this angle, we also still have the Tower here. So I feel like there's still something here where there could be like an old belief system or thought process that's actually kind of in the way, as like a block for you here. And I feel like that's perhaps why you're not seeing everything here so clearly. Now, I do feel like there's a potential that whoever it is that you're dealing with, they are fighting this reunion. I mean, with that Seven of Wands showing up twice, you know, I can't leave that out as a possibility here. But I do feel like that's more your energy. But I did want to mention that in case that applies to anyone out there. Now, this looks amazing. In the potential outcome, we have River of Blessings. Who doesn't want a river of blessings, right? It says releasing constraints, which is interesting based on that King of Pentacles energy. It's a 47, so that would reduce to 11, which is certainly master class energy there with that master number. She's got this bowl that she's holding. You know, the artwork on here is really cool, but they're not super clear. She's got this bowl that she's holding in front of her. Kind of reminds me of one of those, you know how when you go mining for gold or crystals, you kind of dip this tray into the water and you shake it out, and then there's like this gem. So I do feel like there could be something, it's almost like you're like mining and you find the thing. And I feel like it's directly related to this perhaps old thought system or paradigm. We have the Hermit, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. So certainly some Virgo water energy coming in there. But it's almost as if the Hermit, upon doing some reflecting, some more reflecting, or at least saying that all this reflection time, this deep questioning that you've been doing, finally brings forward some wisdom. You know, he's shining that light, and it is the star. That's what's in his lantern. And it could be kind of like this key. But I do find it interesting that that River of Blessings specifically states releasing constraints. And I don't know much about the, to me it looks like a cheetah or a leopard here in the background, kind of behind her. So I don't know a ton about that as a sort of a totem. That might be worth kind of looking up. Certainly independent energy, right? Like all cats. So let's see what we get here. What do we have? The Hermit. The Death card. And the Page of Cups. Yep, okay. With the Seven of Pentacles, we have the Judgment. And the Ten of Wands. And with the Knight of Cups, we get the Seven of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so a couple offers coming in here for sure, maybe even 3 separate ones here. But I do feel like the Hermit with the Death card, I do feel like you're finally coming out of this deep reflection period you've been in, where you've been kind of fighting off any sort of outside distraction or interruption. And I think you come out of it because that spark, that star, that old paradigm that you've been kind of questioning finally comes out. You can see how this Page of Cups has a fish that pops out of that cup, and it's like this idea, it's like this light bulb goes bing, and I feel like you finally hit the jackpot in that regard, and it actually causes a bit of an ego death here, which, you know, I feel like people make a really huge deal out of ego death. You can certainly have some whoppers, right? But I don't feel like this one's going to like completely crumble your entire reality. I think it does actually release you from this old thought process. Now, it could very easily be with that King of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles, it could actually be that you have in your mind that a relationship has to be this way, X, Y, and Z. And so when this relationship didn't fit that, it ended, or what have you, and now you're like questioning, well, why am I still carrying around this old version of what a relationship looks like? So that's just an example. That doesn't have to actually be the light bulb moment that you have. With the Seven of Pentacles, we have the Judgment and the Ten of Wands. And I think you figure out, as a result of this light bulb moment, that you've been putting in a ton of time and energy into something that doesn't even actually fit your truth. And I feel like there's this huge release here, and that could very well be that releasing of that constraint. You can finally put down all these wands you've been carrying, and then this situation that you've been through, that questioning, that happiness that feels like a loss, it finally all starts to make some sense. Now we do have the Knight of Cups, the Seven of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles here. So certainly some incoming offers showing up. It could very well be that it is offers that you were perhaps guarded against in your challenge row here. This Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, these knights could have been bringing those forward to you, and you were fighting them off because you didn't want any distractions from this past review you were doing. Now, I want to get one more on that Seven of Swords. I'm not really feeling why he's showing up here. Yeah, okay. I feel like in some ways you're kind of cutting out anything that is not totally forward and truthful. So it could very well be that you have all these offers coming in and half of them go to the wayside because you're like, yeah, that's based on something that's no longer true for me, right? Yeah, there's somebody here bringing in a kind of a piddly offer compared to these others. So could certainly be an earth sign, air sign there. Kind of complicated there, Scorpio. I hope that was helpful to you. Let's real quickly look at your full moon in Aries message. What's coming in for Scorpio for this full moon in Aries? It's 11:11 on my computer right now. What's coming in for Scorpio? Okay. A win-win outcome is forecast. It's the full moon in Libra. So it does kind of have that feel with it being a full moon, some sort of release when it comes to an old relationship or relationship dynamic. I mean, that really fits in with this Mercury retrograde that we're finally coming out of, which was in the sign of Libra. And I'm trying to think of what other sign got this. It was one of the fire signs, I believe. Let's get some more here on what this is talking about for Scorpio. Yeah, these readings have been super long. I kind of just feel like there's a lot channeling through today. Seven of Swords, King of Pentacles, and the Six of Cups. So I feel like you're officially letting go of that old relationship, those old constructs that you were participating in, maybe even unconsciously with that earth sign that we had here. I mean, this is the second time that King of Pentacles is showing up along with that Seven of Swords. So I feel like in this outcome, he may even come forward with kind of like this little piddly page offer. I mean, he's certainly not presenting as the king or even the knight here, right? And I feel like you actually cut it out. Now, with the Six of Cups here, that could have certainly been a soulmate, right? We're seeing that again. But with that Seven of Swords showing up more than once, not only do I feel like you're walking away from this person, but I feel like on some level, it just wasn't really honoring your truth. And I feel like that's why it showed up as a positive for you for that to actually end, because it forced you into this questioning. It forced you to realize that you were kind of holding on to an old construct that wasn't even true to you, and then you have suddenly this release, right? So it's played out nicely for you, but certainly it's never easy, obviously. So that looks really good, Scorpio. I hope that was helpful. And good on you for spending some time, really looking into the why for yourself. Shadow work and kind of looking into that aspect of the self is not easy stuff to do, and I commend anyone that spends the time to do so. So I will see you next week for the October wrap-up, and we'll kind of see how things are going for you then. Have a great full moon, and I'll see you next time. Bye.